It's been a very sacramental weekend for me. I was yesterday at Bickersteth House with our confirmation candidates, including Alba, who's here with us today, preparing them for their confirmation at the end of this month. And then I was here for a wedding. And at that wedding, I went to university with, who I haven't seen for the last 9 or 10 years, probably. She now edits a national newspaper. I now look after a church. Neither of us did those things when we were at university. In fact, we were very different people. Rather than get up for morning prayer at 8 o'clock, I used to get up for lunch at 1 p.m. Then I'd stay up till 3 in the morning. I tend not to do that anymore, except when Helen, my wife, goes away, and I find myself reverting back to my previous way of living. I stay up later and later, having no clear idea in my mind what a sensible time of going to bed is. I find myself eating lunch minutes after I've finished breakfast. I find the dishes piling up. Not because I don't normally do any washing up, but somehow when I'm on my own, it's much easier to leave them there. I go back to the old way of doing things. Gone fishing is a sign that I could hang on my front door and then retreat from public life. Gone fishing is what Peter says. Jesus has died. His dreams have been dashed for his future. And he goes back to his old life, to the things that he knows. I'm going fishing. And his mates say, yeah, we'll come with you. We remember what that old life was like 3 years ago when we used to earn our trade each day on the boats with the nets. We'll go back to the old way. But the old way, it turns out, is no longer rewarding. They spend their hours of the night fishing and they come up with nothing at all, which has incidentally been my experience of fishing whenever I've gone. I think, was it Churchill who said that golf is a good walk ruined? For my money, fishing is a good opportunity to do absolutely anything else ruined. But it was my father's one true love, and he felt that to turn me into the man he desired me to be, he should subject me to hours upon hours of threading ragworm onto hooks and throwing them out into the sea. It's terrible. And it's not rewarding for Peter and his fellows either. They come to the end of their shift on the boat, hauling the nets, and there's nothing in them at all. I hate staying up till 3 o'clock now, because I still have to get up at 7 o'clock in the morning for morning prayer. My old way of life is also no longer rewarding. And that's true with all of our walks with Christ. Once we've tried living with him in his ways, then our old way of life is no longer rewarding. Now, that doesn't mean that every now and then I don't stay up till 3. It doesn't mean that every now and then we don't put the signs on our doors, "Gone fishing," revert to our old ways. But it means that we find our old ways of life are no longer as rewarding. Jesus, of course, demonstrates to Peter that with him we are fruitful. He tells Peter to chuck the nets down the other side of the boat. They come up full of fish. But then he takes Peter aside once he's reached the shore. He quizzes him. And this is an incredibly baptismal story, really. You know, Peter dives in to the water. He puts his cloak on first, because presumably the only thing that makes fishing a bit more fun is to do it in the nude. So he sticks his clothes on, he dives into the sea, he swims to the shore. It's like baptism. He's plunging himself into the water. And he receives on the shore bread and fish to eat, a meal to share together. He receives forgiveness from Christ for his denial. And Jesus asks him, "Do you love me more than these?" And it's a fun little quirk in the Greek that we don't really know what the these refers to. The kind of most obvious reading is the one that the text today chooses. Do you love me more than these others? That is to say, these other disciples. Are you the one who loves me the most out of all of them? But a more interesting take maybe is, do you love me more than these things all around you here? Do you love me more than this boat and these nets? Do you love me more than this fish that you're eating? Do you love me more than your old life? And Peter responds, just like we have done at the baptismal promises, yes, I do. You are more important to me than nets and boats and fishing tackle. Do you love me more than your old way of life? Yes. Then follow me, says Jesus. And that is the same question that confronts those of us who are being baptized today and those who are making promises on behalf of those who are being baptized. Do you love me more than these, than the ways of your life which are not the ways of Christ? And if our answer is yes, then Jesus' call to us is, follow me. Amen.